Life doesn't come with a reset button, but today we get a redo. The very first interview that I recorded on this podcast went just into the digital abyss. But today we're making it right. Round two. And this time it's here to stay.
And it's me! And it all begins in 30 seconds.
Love and laughter lead the way through the darkest, hardest days. Hope still burns, it won't retire. This is me, my life rewired. I was broken, now I'm whole. Wrote new chapters for my soul. Not the end, just re-inspired. This is me, my life rewired.
I'm Rob, and this is Life Rewired. And if you guys have watched us for any time at all, you know our very beginning was a little rough. We had guests here and there, but the very first episode that I recorded, you never saw because I was using a software that I had no idea how to work. And then in that magic, Ashley was born. Well, I don't want to say you were born. Hey, you're happy birthday, Ashley.
A partnership was born.
A partnership was born. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that partnership, but then we're going to jump into the story that you never heard. So
Except for
Ashley,
like a 5 second. I think there's like
yeah,
a 5 second teaser introducing me towards the beginning. But yeah, that's all that was pretty much saved from that interview. The rest we were not able to use.
yeah, and it was such a bummer because it was magical for me. I don't know if you felt the same way or not, but I had no aspirations of having a co-host for the podcast. And once we finished talking, I was like, wow, I felt something there. I don't know. And I've done how many interviews have we done since? But I've made connections with people that great friendships were born. But there was nothing like that magic that we struck on that first episode. And I just said, Ashley, would you want to be my co host? What was your thoughts going through your head when I asked you that question?
Well, I want to kind of backtrack a little bit so people can understand. On Facebook, me and Rob were in well, we still are in a Facebook group for people with brain injuries, and I saw his post a little over a year ago, yearish ago, about how he had some videos up and wanted feedback because he didn't feel like it was getting like the views he wanted. So I agreed to take a look, and I said, some things were upbeat, some things were downbeat. There wasn't really any type of consistency. And I had suggested maybe him doing a podcast because that has become like the niche, I feel like, over the past couple of years, which COVID or non COVID related, more people seem to be finding.
Yeah.
So I was just supposed to be the first interview. It was his baby completely.
Yeah.
But it ended up going so well that he asked me if I'd want to do it. And I was like, let's do it.
I'm curious when you told Zach, hey, I'm going to start doing a podcast with this guy that I just met, what was his initial reaction?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
But that's not a
You have a brain
surprise.
injury.
Well, that's not a surprise because that's one of the things with my brain injury is my short term
Yeah.
memory. But I mean, he's not one of those like you have to take my last name type of people. So
Yeah.
I think he was fine with
If not, he better be, huh?
Well, it's a year later, so it's a little too late. So
Yeah. Yeah. Sheila was like, oh, good for you. It doesn't take much to please our spouses, I guess.
mhm.
I will have to say they've been very supportive of us, and I am very thankful for that.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. So let's go back. Let's talk about Ashley. Today is all about Ashley, and you have the floor. I want you to tell people how you got your brain injury.
It was the middle of the night, and I had gotten up to use the restroom in the master bedroom. And at that time, I was on muscle relaxants because I was recovering from being rear ended. So, a little groggy and unsteady, but I didn't think it was like to the point where I probably should have turned the light on. So went to the restroom in the dark and I ended up tripping over the scale and falling into the shower, which it isn't like a door and it's not like a tub, it's like a walk-in shower with a curtain. So I went straight through the curtain and hit my head against the backsplash.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, and your mom was such a very integral part of your recovery because she fill in the details because I know the story, but bits and pieces of it just keep coming and going at times. Um, you called
well,
your mom, I
I
think, initially, right?
well, I probably should have called 911 initially since I hit my head, but
Yeah.
um, you know, uh, that's something I learned down the road. So I called my mom once I got myself like reoriented and back to bed, and she was like, I'll take you to the hospital, but it's gonna have to wait because I'm like half asleep. Okay, and I was thinking, okay, not a like whatever, which again, but she took me to the hospital and they just treated it as like, you know, me hitting my head, and it was a work day actually, so I worked, for the afternoon part of the day because we were cleared by the hospital in the morning. But it was like that weekend, a couple days later, when I went to see my sister in a show, that we had to leave at intermission because I started feeling really unwell. I had a really bad headache. I was sensitive to the lights. I was sensitive to the noise. It just wasn't good. So I ended up going back to the emergency room. I'm sorry, I did not end up going back to the emergency room. My mom told me to schedule an appointment with my primary care doctor to
Mm.
discuss a possible concussion. So I was able to get like a Monday appointment, and she confirmed that it was indeed a concussion and to just take it easy. Well, taking it easy didn't really help. So a couple days later, I went back to the emergency room. They confirmed it was a concussion, but they said there wasn't really anything else they could do. So my mom talks to anybody. So luckily, she begged one of the nurses for like resources, and they referred me to Bryn Mawr Rehab's concussion clinic, and they were able to help me out from there.
Cool. I'm curious, how long between concussion and when you decided to join a support group? How long? What was that amount of time like?
Um, well, I couldn't do any screens for like a couple months.
Hmm.
And I just figured I'd be one of those people that would recover within that 6 month time frame and move on with my life. And that didn't happen. So I went back and saw a neurologist, no neurological cause. So let's refer you for some, testing. So they did some testing, and that's where I got the post concussion syndrome diagnosis, which affects a very small percentage of people. Most people recover.
Yeah.
Um, so it was then that I decided, so like less than a year, to join a support group because I felt like A, I was going to need the support long term, but B, like I really kind of went through the journey by myself in terms of, okay, I,
Yeah.
had to take off from work. I did the physical therapy, I did the occupational therapy. I returned to work with some restrictions, but I still wasn't feeling like myself, so I didn't really think it was a problem until after I got the diagnosis. So it was then that I joined the group, not only for the support, but I found that I was able to help other people that were initially going through the initial stages of their brain injury, trying to navigate things that, you know, I wanted to be able to help them out with. So,
Yeah. It was probably about a year from me. And I don't
mhm,
know, I can't really remember why I decided to look for a support group, but I was initially diagnosed with post concussion syndrome, which was really not what I had. I had a full moderate brain injury. And so I decided one day to finally, I looked up post concussion syndrome, and I guess maybe there were some suggestions of support groups. I really don't know. And that's how I ended up in that support group. And I don't remember how long between that and when I decided to start doing videos was, but yeah, that brings it full circle how I met you. And I really wish that I had joined a support group from the beginning. And that's why I preach about joining support groups, because I found so much help in just doing that. And look at the friends that
mhm,
I have made along this journey. Yeah, this was not the path that I wanted to go down, but I didn't go down it alone. And I've made so many great friends from it too. A lot of
mhm.
connections. They're all over the world now. I have friends in Australia, Germany, I mean, you name it. So it's really cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
life
I
gives you
mean,
lemons.
Make lemonade. No,
Yep.
Bryn Mawr did offer a support group that was like in person, but at that time, um, with the concussion, I just felt like so overwhelmed just with the little details. My days and nights were mixed up, the headaches, the nausea, the just
Hmm.
generalized fatigue, like, you know, sensitivity. Like, I just couldn't physically add one more thing onto my plate. My plate was just going to PT and OT and going back to work. So I mean, if they had offered a virtual support group, would it have probably been different? Yeah, because at that point OT was letting me do screens, but it was just too much to think of possibly doing in the midst of trying to recover. But I do think that, anybody who does need that support that thinks they can tolerate screens or doing an in-person thing, I would
Hmm.
definitely recommend it. But, you know
Yeah.
yourself best.
Yeah. Listen to your body. Your body doesn't lie to you.
Hmm.
Hey, that'd be a good quote on a coffee cup, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Well, it's been great catching up, Ashley. I'm so glad we finally got to do a redo of your
Yes.
interview. This one
Yes.
won't get lost.
Yeah.
So I'm going to toss it to you.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Rob. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
This is me, my life rewired.